we're comparing our lives based on curated moments that aren't even present moments, which takes away from our ability to create new things because everyone's in constant competition. So it feels like everything's becoming a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. Like nothing's new.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your name?
Nicole Lawson.
And how old are you?
I'm 25. I'll be 26 in December.
So, Nicole, who are you on a soul level?
I think I would say that on a soul level, I'm caring, I'm giving, I'm very empathetic. But I think I'm very old as well. I think my soul is very, very old. I'm a life path number 9. And typically that's said to be the old souls, like this is our last go round on this ghetto ass planet, and I hope so.
I'm kind of done here.
Like, I'm done. So this experience is all about the experience for me now, like the spiritual aspect, and really just enjoying and learning the lessons and letting go quickly and letting in as quickly. But yeah, so.
Okay. So is there anything that's happened in the past or anything that's going on right now that has made you this person? Other than your life path number and the feeling that you...
I feel like my life has been like a series of events. Like a series of events that have made me into this person, honestly. But if I had to choose the most defining moment for me, it would be in 2015, which also came the end of my Navy career, which is also the year that I got my second DUI. And I ran into another person head on. And I think I kind of woke up. Like I was like, oh fuck, okay, what are you doing with your life? Like what's going on? Like you have a lot of shit that you're not dealing with, and a lot of things you're just allowing life to happen to you. You're not actively happening to life. And I think that moment completely changed me because I lost everything, you know, my relationship, my sense of self-worth, my dignity, lost my career. I became very shameful. And I thought like my life was gonna end, and it didn't. But you know, it got to a point to where everything did have to crumble so I could see the light underneath it all and rebuild it back up.
I can definitely relate to that. Okay, so thank you for sharing that, first of all.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna give you 3 categories.
Okay.
So I want you to tell me what means the most to you and what means the least to you.
Okay.
So, and you can mix and match them however you want.
Okay.
So love, sex, relationships is first. Society, culture, politics is second. And then spirituality and or religion is third, because that doesn't go hand in hand for everyone. So for you, it takes the front seat.
For me, spirituality takes the front seat. I don't necessarily consider myself religious. However, I did grow up very religious. But I think the biggest thing for me right now is spirituality, which is, in my definition, cultivating a sense of self-awareness, self-actualization, taking responsibility, and having like a deeper connection to how everything is connected. But that would be the top one for me. The next one would be love, sex, and relationships, because I feel like that is kind of the truest mission that we're here, is to learn how to love, whatever that looks like in a human form. I think that in the ethers, wherever that is, we are unconditional love. You know, that's all we know how to do, because we're just energy passing through each other. So it's not very hard to fuck up people's vibration, right? But when you put something in a solid form, and you take the essence and then you have the being, which is the presence of you, it's easy to get in people's way. It's easy to see the trickle effect of your choices and things like that, and how your relationships play a huge role in your life, and your relationship with yourself, with others, with friends. So I think that is very important second. And third would be the society, culture, and politics. Yeah, that's gonna be the least for me, because I feel like that's something that we just created here. on this 3D plane. Like, to me, politics is just, it's a way to implement more division, like a separation between things, when I feel like everything is connected in some way, in some form. And I feel like things like culture and society, are they important to a certain extent? Yes, but I also feel like it does create more division than a sense of oneness.
Are you politically aware, even though you're not into it? Like, do you know who's running? Are you going to vote? Did you vote last term?
I do know who's running. I'm aware, but I'm not necessarily indulging, because I definitely feel like even politics has politics, if that makes sense. So it can be very frustrating. I'm going to vote, obviously, because I have a voice and I can, so why not? But however, do I really feel like my vote is playing a huge part? No, but I also can't complain if I don't vote.
Right.
You know? So I think that's the stance that I'm taking. It becomes very difficult now, because it's like, what's the lesser of two evils to choose? Because the president really doesn't run anything. We still have the House and, you know, the vice president and all these different factors. So the president just becomes more so the face. So I think I've been looking at politics as like, who would I like to represent America more so, you know, than anything else. And for me right now, it's, you know, Bernie, but that's just, you know, if I had anybody represent, do I think he can make drastic major changes? No, because he's not the only moving part. However, if I had to choose someone to be the face of all people who really, you know, is presenting that they care about all people, that's who I would choose it to be.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna get you to draw, and I want you to pick colors that make you happy, colors that remind you of other things. I mean, you can pick colors that make you feel any kind of way you want them to make you feel. Just colors that spark your interest in some kind of way. And then I just want you to explain to everyone like why you picked the colors you picked.
Okay. So automatically, I'm definitely gonna go for these two greens, because green means growth, it's life. It reminds me of the cycles. It reminds me of becoming new, freshness, spring, all those things. So definitely love green. Definitely purple, because it gives me like connected to a higher power, royalty, you know, crown chakra energy. Definitely that. And then I'm definitely going to go with probably like this orangish color, because it reminds me that along with growth comes creativity, and creativity is that sacral chakra, which is the orange. You know, so I pretty much base everything on that color scheme, but those are the ones that stick out the most to me, is being connected to your crown, being connected to the ground, and being connected to your creative aspects.
Okay. So first question, what makes you the most upset? Like, what really pisses you off?
A lot of things. Some things that really piss me off: lying. Lying really pisses me off. Inconsideration really pisses me off. Or like people just being mean to strangers for no reason, or like being really reactive, or having like attitudes for no reason. That really like grinds my gears.
What makes you really happy?
Believe it or not, with my background and like the fact that I used to be suicidal and just so depressed and sad, life makes me happy. The fact that I'm still here, the fact that I'm still doing it, the fact that I get to choose to experience something new every day, the fact that I don't have to be who I used to be, that I can always be someone new in every moment. I think that's what makes me the happiest.
Okay. What are you most afraid of?
Never tapping into all of my potential, or a lot of it, or getting to a point to where I don't continue to tap, because I think we have infinite potential, so I can't tap into all of it. But if I ever get to a point to where I stop trying to tap into more of me, or stop trying to become more of me, and just like being stuck somewhere.
Make a face that explains you. Like, if you were a facial expression, what would it be? What does that mean?
It means you never know what you're gonna get.
You are nuts.
Precisely that shit.
I was genuinely startled, even if it didn't look like it. Are you happy?
I mean, who's happy all the time? I think overall, I am content. And I think content for me, and my definition of what it means to have a happy whole life, content is the most peaceful. I want progress, but I'm not longing. I have past things, but I'm not necessarily holding on too tight. I'm actively working through. So I would say, am I content in my life? I'm content. Which means I'm peaceful with the way things are, even though I'm still striving for more and actively pursuing ways to do better. I think the most peaceful thing for me is to enjoy where I'm at, because it's always where I'm supposed to be, regardless.
Okay. Explain to me what social media is to you.
Fucking bullshit. Social media to me is us living not just in a past moment, but in someone else's past moment. It's us constantly living in past versions of the world. And I feel like it's creating this trickle effect of less creativity and being dumbed down, because we use short captions, we use short words and short terminology, which we aren't broadening our intellect or our vocabulary. And we're comparing our lives based on curated moments that aren't even present moments, which takes away from our ability to create new things, because everyone's in constant competition. So it feels like everything's becoming a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. Like nothing's new, because we're just watching the same thing circulate, because no one's actually getting out into the world. I remember someone told me something that I'll never forget. They told me that the map only shows the road that's been traveled, not the one that hasn't. You know, so I feel like, and that's what kind of social media is giving us right now. It's giving us all the clues to the things that have already been discovered, but it's not giving us anything new, and it's taking away our ability to make decisions on our own. Like, it's creating this facade where a lot of people have goals, and it's like, why do you even have that goal? Because you've seen it on Instagram as somebody else's goal.
Yeah.
You know, like, why is that important to you? Like, what is your definition of success? And I think a lot of people's definition of success has gotten skewed by what we think we see in other people's lives.
Facts. Do you have a 5-year plan, or do you live in the moment? And if you do have a 5-year plan, or even like a 1 to 2 year plan, like what is that?
I'm actually currently working on my 5-year plan. I've never been a 5-year planner. Okay, I am a Sagittarius sun with a Cancer moon and a Gemini rising, and like little to no Earth in my chart. Planning has never been my shit. Okay, so I have always been the person to like go with the flow and just kind of like remain open and things like that. But as I'm getting older, I'm recognizing that it's still good to have a skeleton outline of where you're headed, because if you don't know where you're headed, then you're not really going anywhere.
Right.
You're moving in place, and you're kind of just reacting to how life is coming at you. So I'm trying to gain more structure to have that. So I do have goals that I want to accomplish within the next 1 to 2 years. But I'm also still like trying to plan that too. So.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Do you have any vices?
Anything that can get you high. I feel like that all those are vices. Do I do a lot of things that get me high? No. I mean, I smoke weed and like drink alcohol, and I've done a couple other drugs per se here throughout my life. But I would say those can be vices. I mean, I have tried psychedelics. I don't think that those are vices, because I tend to use those only on a more ritualistic aspect. But I think things like alcohol has been a big vice in my life. Just because it just causes so much more damage than it does good.
Yeah.
You know, and I truly think that statement is for me. It's like, you know, it's really hard to practice moderation. You know, it's like one drink is never enough, and too many all at the same time. So I think that's one of my vices that, you know, I still am working on day by day, but it's hard.
Right? Yeah. Okay. What is the most challenging thing that you've gone through thus far?
The most challenging thing that I've gone through thus far is having to look at myself in the face and accept responsibility for where I'm at in my life, no matter what someone else has done to me, no matter what I think other people have done to me, no matter how I perceive other people have treated me. I always have a choice on how I respond and react and how I choose to move in my life. And I think that that is the one thing that like kind of hit home for me, is when I like looked in the mirror one day. I was like, woke up and I was so depressed and so sad after going through a breakup, and I just looked in the mirror and I was like, it's your fault. And it wasn't in a way that was like trying to bash me or anything like that. It was like in a serious, like, look at yourself and like own up to your shit. Like, it's you could have walked away any moment you decided to walk away. You could have done something else with your life if you decided to. You could have not drank. You could have, you know what I'm saying? Like, these choices you made. And I think that's very hard to accept when you finally stripped yourself from having your ego or allowing your ego to blame anything else but you.
Okay, what's the hardest conversation you've had to have?
Hardest conversation? I don't know. I feel like being a life coach, I have a lot of very hard conversations. And reading tarot, I have a lot of hard conversations. I used to work in medical and had to have a lot of hard conversations with people too. So I think the hardest conversations I've had to have are with myself. Or when I had to, you know, like get on my own head or put my foot on my own neck. Like, those are the hard conversations, because we're easily deceived by ourselves. Like, I'm easily deceived by myself, you know? And sometimes we want to be compassionate, but I feel like there's a way to be compassionate, but also very stern with yourself and disciplining yourself. So that way you can be the best person you can be, not to be like a bitch to you, you know? But I feel like those are the most difficult conversations. Like, I think probably one of the most difficult conversations I had to have with myself was going through my last breakup, at least most recently, going through my last breakup. I was living in Illinois, let me not put the S on there. I was living in Illinois, and it's completely away from family. My ex had broken up with me, and I stayed for 1.5 years because I was just like stuck. And I just wanted to be with her. And when I really realized it was my ego would not allow me to accept the fact that someone did not want to be with me after I felt like I gave so much. And the hardest conversation I had to have was that my life was spiraling out of control. And I was stuck on one person that I've neglected every other person in my life. I've made myself become this most ungrateful victim, you know, and put myself in this hole that I felt like I couldn't dig myself out of. So the hard conversation I had to have with myself was like, who do you want to be? Just this girl that got broken up with that's just sad and depressed? Or do you want to be someone else? And I think that was hard for me to sit there and say, you know what, even though she left me, like, I'm choosing to stay here. I'm choosing to deal with this still. I'm choosing to feel depressed, because what really happened is she left me one time and I allowed her to leave me every day for 1.5 years because I wouldn't move on from that. So that was a hard conversation, to like not be like, well, you left me and this is why I'm sad, blah, 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 blah. Because in real life it was like, no, bitch, you're sad because you won't choose to be anything but. You won't make space for another emotion. Love is rough, guys. It's ghetto, okay?
Oh my god.
Love in the 3D world is fucking ghetto.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
The lesbian 3D world is even more ghetto.
Okay. Share an embarrassing moment.
An embarrassing moment for me was when I was dating this girl, and we went to this party, and she had a bunch of mutual friends, and her ex-girlfriend was there. And so, you know, I'm drinking, just trying to have a good time, trying not to think about it or whatever, and just trying to like blend in for the most part. I don't know who cleaned these fucking windows at this place, y'all, because everybody went outside to smoke, and I was like getting a drink, so I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to go outside to smoke too. I ran smack dab into these fucking windows, and my head bounced off of it, and I spilled my drink on myself, and I was so embarrassed because her ex-girlfriend was there, and it was all their mutual friends, and everyone's talking about me, and I'm just like this new girl, and I'm just like, fuck, Cause that window was so clean. It literally looked like the door was open, and it wasn't, and that was so embarrassing.
So what ended up happening? Like,
nothing.
Did you dip or like?
Yeah, I did. I left after that because I was just too embarrassed.
Yeah, it's just like I can't stay. I'm sorry.
I was like, I can't deal with this. I gotta go.
That is heavy. Ugh.
But yeah, that was the most embarrassing thing for me. But beyond that, y'all, I done been cheated on in public, all types of stuff. So I feel like this has been a lot of embarrassing things. Yeah, there are levels. You know, that was embarrassing just because of that. But like, I've been in situations where I felt like shameful, you know.
Yeah.
But it happens.
Yeah, to all of us, to everyone. Do you have any weird habits?
I guess it's not weird to me, but to everyone else it might be weird. I don't watch TV. I think that's like a weird habit. And it's not even a habit, but I've just gotten to try to not ingest so much. Because I start to feel like I don't know who I am and I can't hear my own voice because I'm constantly hearing other voices.
Yes. I mean, I think that's like a good weird habit, to be honest. But
I just like in our day and age, in our generation,
yeah,
you don't
everybody
often hear
has
people,
like something.
you know, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, did you watch Game of Thrones? I'm like, never seen it. I like watch Stranger Things way after everyone else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you ever try to decide to turn on Game of Thrones, it's a good choice. What don't you want to tell people but know you should share because it will help someone else?
That's a heavy, loaded question there. What do I want to tell people, or don't want to tell people that they should know? Okay. This is my own opinion, my own perspective, and if you resonate, you resonate. If you don't, you don't. If you hear it and it don't resonate right now and it resonate later, I'm all for that too. But let me give you a little background first. I grew up a very sad person. I grew up from a very broken home. I was very angry as a child, always longing for a relationship with my parents that weren't there. You know, I couldn't understand or grasp, and still have issues grasping the fact that my mother did not want to take care of me. I didn't understand that. And I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in the way we wish things were that we don't accept the way that things are. And I can honestly say there was a point in my life where I was really, really sad because things had gone on. And there was also a point in my life to where I wasn't sad anymore, but I wanted attention. And I didn't know any other way to get healthy attention rather than just choosing the sadness because it was attention nonetheless, even if it wasn't good. And I think that's a very big distinction that some of us need to make when we are going through these things like depression and sadness and we let it go on for so long, is at what point are you choosing to be sad? You know, at what point are you not choosing to come out of that or not choosing to find ways when you're not choosing to fight for yourself? You know, it was one point where I was so sad and so depressed, but I wanted everyone to do everything for me, but I was not fighting for me, and I would not admit that to myself, you know, because we hear all these things like meditation helps and working out helps and eating healthy helps and all these things, but I wasn't doing it. I was just wallowing in, well, I'm sad and nothing's helping and blah, 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 and all these things, and oh, pitiful me. But life don't stop for nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's bad things happening to people all day long. I'm not saying that, like, you know, that I didn't have it bad, but there's people that have it worse. There's people that have it better. You know what I'm saying? But hurt is still hurt. It's still emotions that we have to deal with. But I think it's imperative that you call yourself out when you are just choosing to be sad. Because it's easier, because you don't know how to be anything else. And it's okay to admit, I don't know how to not be sad anymore. So yes, I am waking up and choosing to be sad because that's all I know. I think once you can admit that to yourself, then you can start taking steps to say, okay, I know I'm choosing this, so how can I at least choose to be, and you don't have to make big grand changes, but make small changes. Okay, today I don't want to choose to be sad. I'm just going to choose to be indifferent. I'm going to choose to just be meh about everything. And then maybe the next day you choose to be happy about a couple things out of the day.
Right.
And then you let that trickle on, and eventually you realize, damn, I had a good day. For no other reason than having a good day. And that leads me into like my last little bit of advice on that is start finding the little things important. Because something grand is not always going to happen in your life every day. And I feel like when you're in these sad states, that's what we expect. We expect grand fucking things to happen every day for us to have this rush of excitement and adrenaline. But you need to have a rush of excitement and adrenaline just because you woke the fuck up.
Right.
Just because you still have your hands, because you still have your feet, because you have people that love you, because you love yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a job, no matter what job it is. You have to find excitement in the little things, because if you don't, and you're constantly waiting on some like fucking big bang to happen, it makes your life miserable. It makes you feel like you don't have anything to look forward to, but it's not that you don't, you're just not looking. You're not looking at yourself. You're looking at the world and expecting the world to do something for you, when all you have to do is exist.
Facts. What are you self-conscious about?
I think I'm self-conscious about not feeling like I know enough. I get very self-conscious about feeling that I'm undereducated because I don't necessarily believe in like the traditional school systems. I've always been a person that believed that you can acquire your own knowledge, but I just feel like there's so much knowledge. I always feel like I just don't know enough. Like even when I feel like I know a lot on a subject, I still feel like fuck, but I don't know everything, and things are constantly changing. So trying to find that balance between like being open to knowing more, but also being confident in the fact that I do know something.
Yeah.
And if I don't know nothing else, I know something of my truth, at least what it is right now. Because that also changes. So.
Okay. 3 more questions. What do you need to heal?
I think to heal, currently in my life, I just need a little more openness. I need a little more openness.
From others, or you need to be more open?
A little more openness for myself,
Okay.
because I feel like everyone is a reflection of you. People can only meet me as deep as I've met me. You know, so I think I need a little bit more openness for myself to heal, a little bit more radical honesty, you know, and being able to pull out those moments when I'm trying to pull the fucking wool over my own eyes. You know, I need a little bit more cutthroatness. Like there's a time for compassion and to be soft with yourself. And I think for me to fully, completely like get to a point where I feel like I'm healed, at least from pasting, because we're constantly healing, is the ability to be open more often than not. You know, and sometimes I can still see like when I like clam up and like shrink a little bit because things get uncomfortable. And I want to get to a point to where I can remain open even in the most uncomfortable moments.
Yeah. What's missing?
I feel like what's missing, I'm going to take this in a worldly sense of what I feel like is most missing from the world. The first thing that came to my mind was empathy, but I don't think empathy is what I'm going for actually. The thing that I think is missing is self-awareness. Self-awareness. A lot of people aren't really aware of how their individual actions, their individual world, their individual galaxy universe that they're surrounded in really plays a part in the bigger picture. Like your world is it's an entire world within itself, and that world is connected to everyone else's world. So what you do in yours matters just as much as what everyone else is doing in theirs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that is what the world needs. The world needs more self-awareness, because if we truly, truly cared about ourselves as individuals, there would be no pollution. There would be no harmful things in this world, because every individual would care about themselves so much that we would not even have the mind state to produce things that are not beneficial to self, which means things that are not beneficial to everyone else.
Right.
Everything would be done out of love, because we love ourselves individually. And I think that's where self-awareness comes in, not because I feel like if I say empathy, then it's like, oh, we need to have more compassion for other people and things like that, which all those things are amazing. But I think it starts with loving yourself so much that you want no harm to come to you, and in turn you treat everyone else that way because there is no other way.
I just thought of another question. What do you question most?
What do I question most? My sanity. No, but honestly, what I question most, it probably is my sanity. I don't think there's anything that I question most. I question everything. I question even things that I think I know.
Yeah.
I question everything because as much as everything is, everything also isn't at the same time. And everything is changing and transforming and transmuting and all day long. So it's like nothing is permanent because everything is possible.
Okay. And last question, I give everybody the same scenario. All the electricity goes out and the computers, the TVs, the phone screens, they all say PSA, public service announcement, and it's your face. So you have the opportunity, not necessarily in an apocalyptic situation, like this can be a chill situation where everybody just like has to pay attention to you because everything else is off. So like what would you say to the world if you had the opportunity to have everyone's attention?
I would say be selfish. And I know that might not be like, people be like, whoa, be selfish. I feel like if people were more selfish, they would stand in what's most true for them. And when you stand in what's most true for you, you allow the organic flow of the world to work. You don't snatch anyone's opportunity for growth. Because I feel like in this day and age, we've gotten to this social feedback loop of validation and of wanting someone to approve of us when Source put us here because he approved of us. He approved of what path and what role we would take in this society, in this world, and how we would help to make it spin based upon our own unique truth. And when we do things to please other people or so other people like us, we don't do what's most true for us, which means we are not in alignment with the flow of the universe. And it not only shows in our life, but it shows in our ecosystem. It shows in our everything, the way our entire universe is ran. So that is what I would say to everyone is don't be afraid to be selfish, because if everyone is being selfish, then everyone is taking care of themselves. In turn, everyone is a reflection of you, so then you are taking care of the next person by taking care of you.
I love that. Show us what you do.
Okay, so I'm not a drawer.
Totally fine.
I'm not a drawist, okay?
Drawist and artist.
If you know, it's because if you put an ist at the end of anything, it makes you a professional.
Okay, drawist.
Drawist. So in the middle, I wrote everything is God.
Bring this.
Sorry. Yeah, in the middle, I wrote everything is God, and then I put a tree right here, which is like the tree of life, but I just drew it like a regular tree. And then I put some flowers over here. And the tree of life I put because I feel like that is like our roots. Like trees have like the deepest roots and they last such a long time, and they provide so much nutrients and benefits to our ecosystem that it's something that we need to remind us of growth and of cycles and letting go and all those things. Like we can find all those lessons in nature that help us learn about ourselves most. And I drew a flower because not only is it the prettiest time of a plant, but it's also when you're mid-bloom. Right before that is like you're growing. Right after that is when you're the fruit, when you're ripe, when you get people bear the fruits of their labor, and then you go on to be repurposed into another seed and you grow again. But the flower is the most beautiful part. It's when you're in full bloom, basically. And then I drew these circles around because everything is always, it's just continuous. It never stops. Energy was never created. It can never be destroyed. It just always is, always was, always will be. And I feel like that's exactly how our souls are. We can't be created or destroyed. We always were, always are, and always will be, because we are, each and every one is just a part of this bigger God source space manifested into an individual form here. And that's why I put everything is God, because that is what I try to look at situations as. I try to tell myself to see the God in it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, is to see the God in it, because there's some purpose somewhere, even if I can't see it right now.
And thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. This is Cole Lawson in the flesh.